All right, folks, we are back. Monday, June 15th, 2009. Man, June is almost over. Summer's going to be over before you know it. A lot of people noticing the tan. Yeah, I mowed my lawn, folks. I mowed a little lawn, and it wasn't easy, and it wasn't fun. I think I burnt myself a little bit. Hopefully it'll tan out, but it looks like I have like orange tan on me, like I'm like growing up Gotti or something. Oh, God, what an awful show. I'm so glad that woman's losing her house. If there's anything great about this financial collapse is that women like her get to lose her house. You know, she deserves it. The Gotti family, gross. Jason, I love the Gotti family. Gangsters are cool. Gangsters aren't cool. Crime is not cool, okay? It's not hip. I know you like The Sopranos and you think you're a TV action star and you're tough. No, it's not cool to be a criminal. And like I said, the LA Times has a story out there right now. Study shows politicians and serial killers share similar personality traits. Is that a shocker? No, because it's a criminal cartel that runs the show, that is above government. And the people getting involved in government want to be part of that criminal cartel, want to be part of the system that is jacking everybody. You know, I know that I talk about listening to talk radio and people get all upset at me when I talk about Stern, but there's another show out there, even more vulgar than Stern, that I happen to listen to. It's called The Jason Ellis Show. He's a pro skateboarder / amateur MMA fighter. He's fought a couple times. Actually pretty tough for a skateboarder. He puts his money where his mouth is. And I was listening to the program today while I was running some errands down in downtown Austin. And he has Raw Dog is his buddy there. And Raw Dog starts talking about population control and the fact that the elite want to kill 80 to 90% of us. Apparently someone called in earlier in the week talking about that. And they really got into it. And they said, you know what, that's probably true. And I can see it from an elite perspective. And they were talking about how they would be down with it if they were part of the elite because they've fallen for the propaganda that there are too many people using too many resources. But then they eventually came to the realization that there's no way that they'll actually be part of the elite. And there's no way to get into the club. So I'm against that. So I'm going to try to call into that show. Or if anybody else out there listens to Faction on Sirius and they listen to that show, give him a call. You know, tell him to watch Endgame. Get this guy involved. You know, he's got a voice for the youth. He looks like he's going to be the next big thing on Sirius and XM and talk radio in general. And I think he's actually a real talent. You know, I enjoy the program. It is a little bit vulgar. You know, I wouldn't tell the older crowd to go listen to Jason Ellis. You'll probably hate me, but I thought it was interesting that he was talking about population control and the elite today. All right, I promised to go to calls, so let's do it. Let's go to Paul. Paul, you're on the line, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Hello?
Sir. Yes, you're on
yes.
there.
Well, you just talked about skateboarders and that. I just like to throw out there that I used to be buddies with Greg Lutzka and that, you see him in every Thrasher magazine nowadays and this and that. But
is he on any of the Tony Hawk games?
Huh?
I said, is he in any of the Tony Hawk games?
No, he's not in any of that. But if you open any Thrasher magazine, he's in there in almost every article. Whatever. I just wanted to throw that in there because his ma was a member of. She was one of the ones that brought all the skate parks back into Wisconsin.
Oh, cool! I'm always for that.
You were just talking about that, so I throw that in there. And then I just had a question now about you were just talking about ACs and bathtubs and stuff.
Well, what I was showing is if you got the prisonplanet.tv or if you don't, you can check it out. You can check it out tomorrow on YouTube. But basically, this is a thing out of the Wall Street Journal. It's front page on the Journal report. It says it's time to cool the planet, and it's showing a graphic of the Earth in a bathtub full of ice. That the bathtub is actually an AC unit, and then it's got 2 fans on it. And they're basically talking about how we need to buy or geo-engineer the planet. It may already be too late, and it is kind of risky, but we don't have a choice. They're getting ready to openly say that they're doing chemtrails, and then you open it up, and they're selling full-page ads. Full-page ads. I will use less energy. And who's going to use less energy? Why, the big wigs at corporate Chevron. Give me a break. They're making this green industry into a business, and what they're doing is they're still going to make profits, but they're going to make you feel guilty for being a human being, make you pay a carbon tax, and make you have less. They literally want to take this nation down to a second world nation. They want to eliminate the middle class. They want an elite super class and a slave race, and they are slowly working towards that, and that's what this environmental movement is about. So that's why I mentioned the ACs.
No, the only reason I brought that up is because I worked in air conditioning units and that. I figured there was some new technology that they were working on with heating bathtubs through condenser coils and stuff. I didn't know what...
No, it was just a graphic. It was actually a clever graphic. I'm actually impressed with the Photoshop end of it. What else you got for me, buddy?
Okay, one other question I had is you use the word anti-Semitic a lot.
Yeah,
and a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
Why can they not use the word anti-Hamitic or anti-Japhethic or however they
Look, if you want to call my show and you want to talk about legitimate Zionism, in other words, people who are pro-Israel on every single count, in other words, no matter what Israel does, they are gods and everybody loves them. Listen, I know that the government of Israel, not everybody in the government, but the majority of them, are warmongers, are imperialists, are part of this globalist plot. However, the people out there that use the Jew term and not Zionism, they talk about Jews that are religious Jews or what they feel to be racial or ethnic Jews. They mix the two together. And first of all, not every Jew out there is a Zionist. In fact, the majority of Jewish people are not Zionists. They have no idea what this pro-Israeli agenda is and blah, blah, blah. I have people attacking me all the time saying that I'm Jewish. I'm not Jewish on either end. I'm not religiously Jewish or ethnically Jewish. But you know what? I'm a Jew because I don't like the Nazis out there, and I don't like people going... When people call into my program and say the Jewish people run 90% of the media, no, they don't. The Jewish people include my friends Adam Nathanson, my friends Jay Mandresh. They have no agenda. They're, Long Island kids that are trying to get a job. You know what I'm saying? So if you politically want to call my show and you want to talk about real issues and how, Israel is causing genocide on the Palestinian border, how they're encroaching on their freedoms, how they're a bad state, yeah, we can talk about that. How they're a police state, sure. But when I have people calling in and say, Jews run Hollywood, Jews run this, that's nonsense and that's Nazi-esque, and I just can't deal with it. And I've seen, the videos out there about me, and they all say that I won't talk about Zionism. I talk about Zionism all the time on the show. I had Cindy Sheehan on the show, and we spent a good 5 minutes on Israel alone. When I talk about this technology, one of the things I talked about last week was the robo-snake, which the Israeli military is using. You know what I mean? So these critics, in my opinion, they have no basis in reality. And quite frankly, I don't want to be associated with the Nazis. I think it's horrific that this guy went into a Holocaust museum. And by the way, I do believe the Holocaust happened. And it wasn't just Jews. It was, communists first, gypsies next, Jews next, the mentally ill, gays, blacks, just anybody. And then people who were unemployed, people who were dissidents, not going with a program. It's plenty of people. So
yes, what he did was despicable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But there are also people you got to understand, there are also people out there that will say that Hitler is good and that he had the right plan and he was fighting the New World Order. I can't stand those people either, and it just gets to me. It gets under my skin because I am from New York, I do out of college. And by the way, when I grew up in New York in high school, I grew up in probably a bigger redneck area than where I am in Texas right now. We're talking about hunters, four-wheelers, ATVs. I didn't have any Jewish students that I graduated with. I only graduated with like 55 kids. However, when I went to college, I'm starting to hear all these Jew jokes, and they were usually, Jewish kids joking with one another or other college kids just lightheartedly saying it. I always thought it was lighthearted. I didn't realize that there was really this hardcore anti-Semitism in this country, and sometimes, part of this quote-unquote patriot movement. And to me, that's not a side I want to get. I want to bring in as many people, no matter what color you are, no matter what creed you are, no matter what religion you are. I could care less. As long as you're willing to fight the globalists, come on in. And that's why I say that. So when I say people are anti-Semitic, it's those people that really do just hate Jewish people. And the reason I don't say the other terms is because you don't hear people saying, I hate the whites, or, when I hear someone say, I hate the blacks, I call them racist, or I hate the Mexicans. That's ridiculous. I don't hate any of those people. In fact, although I think the border should be closed, on both ends, not just Mexico, but Canada, it's not because I don't like the people or I think the people are lazy. It's because it loses our sovereignty. It loses our Constitution and Bill of Rights, and it amalgamates us into this North American Union. It amalgamates us into this new world order, and it takes away our Constitution, our Bill of Rights. So, like I said, I always take on legitimate issues, and I feel like I have just been viciously attacked. I mean, you read the websites out there that say that I'm Jewish, there's no evidence whatsoever. I've actually, on the air to one of these anti-Semites, not on this program, but a couple years back, this guy was just talking all sorts of trash about me. he asked me, who my mother and father were, where do I come from? I gave him the names. If you want to trace back my lineage, you're more than welcome to. My mom's name is Lisa D'Onofrio. I'm half Italian. And then on my father's side, Barry Bermas was my dad. And I'm a mixed European from that end. So I can never win. No matter what I say out there, no matter what I do, I'm a dirty, bad Jew. And I just can't stand those people that put out that rhetoric. They accuse Alex Jones of being Jewish. The guy's the whitest guy I've ever seen in my life with a redneck accent. No offense, Alex. I love you. You hear where I'm coming from, brother?
Yeah.
All right, bro.
Take care,
All right. All right. I appreciate the call. Glad I got that off my chest. Let's go to Linda. Linda, you're on the program.
Hey,
yes,
Jason.
Linda. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right tonight.
Hey, I'm so glad about the money bomb.
Me too.
Really, like 300, I was going, no, 250 is not enough, and I was actually calling those things that be not as though they were. I was saying, no, 300 grand, 300 grand, yeah. And I just sent in half of my pledge. I pledged 20% of my income, and I don't bring in that much, but you know what? It's a cause. You need to sacrifice. As I was waiting on your commercial, I was listening to King. He was actually, as you were talking about the carbon thing,